Well, after a very hot and mainly dry weekend, things are starting to get into a slightly different weather pattern the next couple of days. Right now, we are tracking some isolated showers starting to drift across mainly western North Carolina. This is going to be the theme really over the next 24 hours. You'll see occasional shower or storm here and there, not going to be a washout through tonight into tomorrow, and then a similar setup moving on into Wednesday. Then all eyes are on our late week system and the potential impacts we could see there. So overall rainfall totals, this is going to have to be adjusted here within the next 24 hours as we continue to get more data and information. But right now, models are trending that we could pick up several inches of rainfall by the end of the week. Now, this is including any bit of rain that might fall over the next couple of days, but in particular, it looks likely that the heaviest of the rain that we'll see from the tropics is going to arrive Thursday night and stick around into Friday. So we'll need to keep a close eye on the overall track of this particular system. But right now, let's unpack it. We've got potential tropical cyclone 9, which is expected to become our next named storm. Right now, sustained winds of 30 miles per hour, pushing towards the north at 6 miles per hour. Pretty slow moving system. So right now, it's got a lot of time and it's got a pretty good amount of energy to become a little bit more organized as it works over the warm waters of the Gulf over the next 24 hours. The latest track with this timing has it likely approaching the panhandle of Florida anywhere from about Thursday morning through the end of the day Thursday. Now, this is where things get very tricky. Depending on where it actually makes landfall will depend on what impacts we see here at home. So once it does make landfall, it is going to really begin to book it inland and ultimately fizzle on out, but that takes some time for it actually to do so. It is still looking likely that we'll see 40 mile per hour sustained winds even as it works well inland across Georgia and South Carolina. Now, again, we'll need to watch the ultimate track. Different sides of the system could mean lesser amounts of impacts. If we see the system track further westward, our rainfall amounts and overall wind conditions are going to go down drastically. Right now, though, it does look likely that we're basically in the heart of it, with the main impacts arriving Thursday through Friday, bringing with it heavy wind and rain. So as we look at the latest model guidance here, we're looking at isolated showers and storms possible throughout our Tuesday, even into our Wednesday. But you can see this area of interest as it works its way into the Gulf. This is likely to make landfall right along the panhandle of Florida by Thursday, quickly moving inland, and that swath of moisture bringing with it heavy amounts of wind and rain working far inland. Now, this is Friday morning. We're seeing this likely some of the heaviest of the rain moving through Georgia and the Carolinas during that time frame, and then it quickly lifts northward by the end of the day on Friday. So it is a quick moving system, but too much rain in a short period of time could cause some flooding concerns. So we need to keep a close eye on this. But the good news is, I would say by the weekend, even though we're not completely out of the woods yet, we are looking at improving conditions and at least somewhat drier conditions as we get towards Saturday and Sunday. Now, as far as our winds go, future wind gusts, they are going to climb in a high way, especially by end of the day Thursday, moving on into Friday. We're talking over 30, even 40 mile per hour wind gusts. Now, this is guidance, so this will likely fluctuate as we continue to monitor the system. But at least for the time being, expect high amounts of rainfall as well as gusty winds with the approach of this next system. So the 4-day looks like this. We are looking at the potential for occasional showers and storms Tuesday into Wednesday, and then all eyes are on Thursday. Moving on into Friday as we're tracking that system developing in the Gulf, bringing heavy amounts of wind and rain, and then it eventually exits late in the day on Friday. Moving on into the weekend, still going to keep small chance for some showers, but the good news is things are much drier by the weekend and somewhat cooler as well. Well, after a quiet but hot weekend, things are starting to become a little bit more unsettled, beginning this evening and sticking around through the end of the week. Right now, looking at a live Super Doppler for most of the upstate is nice and dry and has remained that way all throughout our Monday. Different picture towards northeast Georgia, been tracking really the same storm system that's starting to fizzle on out now that it's working its way out of Walhalla and pushing over Lake Keowee and Lake Jocassee. Now across western North Carolina, just a few downpours moving out of Asheville and to the north of Rutherfordton. Rest of us nice and dry, and in fact we've had mainly dry conditions throughout much of our Monday. The clouds have been locked in. You can see across our Asheville sky cam where there's a little bit more activity as we've been tracking those storms throughout this afternoon and evening, and temperatures are sticking in the upper 70s to the lower 80s. Now, once we get through the next few days, our temperatures will go on a bit of a roller coaster, still on the warmer side tomorrow, and then we'll start to cool things down middle to end of the week. And that's going to come with increasing rain chances in a pretty big way. There's a lot to fine tune with our latest updates here. Rainfall totals projected from this point through the very end of the week. Anywhere from 3 to 5 inches of rainfall is looking likely. We still need to watch how the system ultimately plays on out. There's a lot that could really tone down those rainfall totals if this shifts ever so slightly towards the west. So we'll keep a close eye on it. But as we take a closer look in right now, this is our 5 p.m. advisory. Sustained winds of 35 miles per hour, pushing towards the north-northwest at 7 miles per hour. So it's moving still very slowly, but it's got a lot of warm waters to work over, which will likely continue to help it become more organized and strengthen in the next couple of days. So let's take a look at the latest projections. Right now, expecting to become a hurricane by Wednesday afternoon, potentially a Category 3 hurricane prior to landfall somewhere along the panhandle of Florida. So this is the newest update, now increasing the chances of this strengthening to a major hurricane during that time frame. And then it quickly moves further towards the north and northwest as it works its way inland, bringing those impacts across the Carolinas and Georgia. So again, we need to watch the ultimate shift of this. If this shifts a little bit further westward, our impacts will be far less. A little bit further eastward, different story. Right now, we're right in the middle of it. So let's time things out. We have the opportunity of seeing some scattered showers and storms on and off throughout our Tuesday and into Wednesday, but it's this area in the Gulf that we're watching as this system ultimately makes landfall right along the panhandle of Florida sometime between Wednesday and Thursday. And then that moisture spills on into the Carolinas and Georgia by the end of the day Thursday, sticking around through Friday, bringing heavy amounts of rainfall and wind. By the end of the day Friday, a lot of this activity should lift further northward and we'll start to see some improvements there. So our main impacts here at home, wind and rain. If everything holds true, we could see wind gusts over 30, even 40 miles per hour during that time frame. So this is going to be something that's going to heavily impact our area in the next couple of days. So the 4-day looks like this: isolated to widely scattered showers and storms on and off throughout the day, Tuesday into Wednesday, still plenty of dry time. By Thursday afternoon, rain and wind starts to spill on into the region, sticking around through the end of the day Friday before starting to see some improvements by the weekend.